So in this video we are going to be considering complex numbers, and it's very important. Complex number play a key role in the uh, field of mathematics, and not just in mathematics, engineering and computer science and several other relevant fields. Right, so the concept of complex number is very simple. It's to the fact that x squared plus 1 equal to 0. This quadratic equation does not have a real root, right? It doesn't have a real solution. So which means if you want to solve this now, x squared is going to be equal to minus 1, right? And ordinarily in all of real numbers, right, you can't have the square root of minus 1, right? You can't have the square root of minus 1. So but then scientists have discovered that they've made research and came up with the invention of complex number, which seeks to take it from where real numbers stop. So from the complex numbers, we have that square root of minus 1 is equal to I, right? But since it's a quadratic related equation or solution, is going to x is going to be equal to plus or minus square root of minus 1, right? Which is the same thing as saying plus or minus I, right? So in complex analysis or complex number, when you see I, which is the fundamental equation, is equated by square root of minus 1. We could now take up what we call powers of complex number here. We know that I is equal to what? I is equal to square root of minus 1, right? So what will be I squared, right? I squared is going to be equal to square root of minus 1 squared, which is equal to what? Minus 1 raised to the power of 1 over 2 raised to the power of 1 over 2. Raised to the power of 2. So these two will go with these two. We are going to have minus 1. So I squared is equal to minus 1. And if we have I raised to the power of 3, now what does it mean? I raised to the power of 3 is the same thing as saying I squared multiplying I, right? Which is going to be I squared. We have I squared to be minus 1 multiplying I. This is going to be equal to minus I, right? So I squared is equal to minus I. So how about you have I raised to the power of 4? This is I squared multiplying I squared, and then we have I squared to be what? Minus 1 multiplying minus 1, which is going to give you 1. So, and every other thing you calculate for is going to fall between minus I, minus 1 and 1. Every other thing. For instance, if you want to find square root of minus 5 now, I to the power of 5, right? I to the power of 5. This is going to be I to the power of 4 multiplying what? I, right? And I to the power of 4 is 1, right? Multiplying I is equal to what? I, right? And then I to the power of 6 is going to be equal to I to the power of 5 multiplying I, which is going to be equal to I multiplying I, which is I squared, right? And I squared was what? I squared was minus 1, right? So I to the power of 7 is I to the power of 6 multiplying I, which is minus 1 multiplying I, which is minus I. And I to the power of 8 is equal to I to the power of 7 multiplying I, which is what? Minus I multiplying what? I, which is going to give you 1, right? It's going to give you 1, because when you do this, you discover you have minus I squared, right? And this is minus 1 multiplying I squared. I squared is known to be what? I squared is known to be minus 1. So this is going to be equal to minus 1 times minus 1, which is 1. So I'm trying to say that from there, if you keep going, all you are going to be resolving into is going to be I minus I, 1 minus 1. This is all you are going to be resolving into, no matter the power you have, right? You are going to be resolving into this. So this is primarily the set of real powers. So let's look at what is called the complex number system, right? The complex number system, remember from when we spoke about the family tree of numbers, we presented complex numbers as C. Complex number is represented as Z equal to X plus IY. Z equal to X plus IY. So this X is called the real part. It's called the real part, and this IY is called the imaginary part. Now note that a complex number is also called imaginary numbers, right? So this part is the imaginary part and this part is the real part. So but then the value of X and Y are a set of real numbers. X and Y are real numbers, right? If you remove this I now, Y is a real number, right? So X plus IY, this is how complex numbers are represented, right? So let's look at the Argand diagram. The Argand diagram is a very important aspect of imaginary numbers or complex numbers. Now remember our typical illustration of what a complex number is X plus IY, right? So when we want to represent this on the Argand diagram, we have something like this. Right? So if we want to represent this on the Argand diagram, we are going to take, this is going to be a right angled, right? So we have our angle here, which is theta. Now the value of this is called the real part, the real line or real part, and this is the imaginary, right? So the value of the imaginary is going to be here, which is Y, which is the Y axis, and this is the X axis. So for the X, this is going to be your value of X, and for the Y, this is going to be your value of Y, right? So this is how to represent a complex number on the Argand diagram. The X axis is the real part, the Y axis is the imaginary part. So for instance, if we have a number here, let's say we have 4 plus 2i, right? 4 plus 2i now. So this means X here, we are going to have, let me clean this. So this means we are going to have 2 here, 4 here, and we are going to have 2. The Y axis is 2 and the X axis is 4. So that is what it means, and that is how to represent complex numbers on the Argand diagram, right? So but then it does not just stop at this, because for instance sometimes you have Z to be equal to minus 4 plus 2i, or you have Z to be equal to minus 4 minus 2i, right? So or you have Z to be equal to 4 minus 2i, right? So these are very other options. How are you going to represent this on the Argand diagram, right? Let me call this number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, right? This Argand diagram has 4 planes, 4 quadrants. So okay, I'm going to be using different colors to represent it. This is the first one that we did. So let me use color red now for the next one. So this is minus 2 plus 2i, right? So this is the value of X and this is the value of Y. So let's check now which of these X is negative. So you discover that here X is going to be negative. Alright, so this is going to be minus 4. Then we have 2i, right? So we have it this way. I'm going to have it this way. Right, so we have it this way. this is our value of theta, and this is our value of y, which is 2, right? So this is that. So let's check for the third one. Now we have minus 4 minus 2i. There is going to be at the fourth quadrant here. So let's use blue for this one. We are going to have something like this. It's going to be at this quadrant. I'm going to have something like this. So we have this to be minus 4 here, and this is going to be minus 2, right? So, and in the fourth quadrant, we are going to have it to be this way. Remember this one was for this representation. So let's look at this representation now, the last representation. We are going to have it this way. This is theta. This is going to be minus 2 here, right? And then let me use this theta. Right, so this is the representation on the Argand diagram, and we've successfully shown how to represent all of this in all the 4 quadrants.